So one of my students, Joe in Toronto, made mention of the fact that he said, that student of yours in the UK, I really like the way his hands look. He said, and I think, and he's a teacher himself for many years. He's played a lot with a lot of people. And
he's very good. Sure, I've seen some videos too. Yeah.
Well, he said, I think that for me, I studied with so many different people and came in with so many different approaches technically that it's harder for me to sort things out as opposed to someone like that student who is more of a clean slate. So he seems to be picking it up. He's impressed with your hands. I told him you're impressed with his playing because, right? So he appreciated that, a little behind the scenes mutual admiration going on.
Yeah, we need to mix a bit of rough with Joe, man. Right?
What's that?
We need to mix a bit of me with Joe.
Well, right, and that's why, and you could quickly address that by having some people over and doing the jam session thing, a la Kevin Crabb, or Mark Ferber. Shout out to Mark Ferber. Hi, Mark, who hit me to that idea. So jam sessions are hit and miss, and I did a lot of jam sessions. I wasn't a jam session, what do they call them? Well, I don't want to say that, but it's a charming but not so attractive reference. But I learned through Mark that it was a good way to learn all about all things jazz, to have jam sessions. So I went and bought a piano. I bought my Yamaha weighted piano keyboard, and I've had a session going for over 20 years. I'm still doing it. 20 years.
That's a lot, yeah.
Right? I was doing that while Dick was still alive. And in that way, because I would, I'd be at a gig and I'd walk up to the drummer. Trying to remember who it was. A very good drummer in town, really good jazz player. And and someone was sitting in, and I said, "What is that tune?" It was a ballad. He rattled it off. So I was a little intimidated by the fact that it seemed like the real jazz guys, they knew all the tunes. And I realized it didn't take long to learn a lot of tunes. After 6 months of hanging and jamming and getting out the fake book or the real book.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And if people would call tunes, and then you'd hear something that you liked and you'd call it. And after a while, it's like, most of it. And if you don't know it, you've heard it. Or someone will call a tune that I played a bunch 15 years ago, right? And Pent Up House. The sax player, Carol Shaking, used to love to call that tune. It's like a great tune. Somebody called it, hadn't played it in 15 years. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's in the computer, so you can call upon it. So that's why, and then you get to work on some of the nuances that are connected to all things technique, so that you can put this stuff we're working on into practicum. So you're learning tunes. You're not just playing backbeat stuff. No. I love
I think it's back.
Love a great backbeat gig. But as I've mentioned before, all of your favorite drummers also play jazz. Steve Gadd, inside-outside player. Paul Simon, and then you'll hear him playing jazz standards with, God, I heard him play with Chuck Mangione. It's like Carlos Vega in 7, playing a Latin thing in 7 at the Baked Potato with Lee Ritenour. And there he is playing on the soundtrack, original soundtrack of Grease. an inside-outside player. So you want to understand both elements, right?
Garibaldi.
Garibaldi playing with Gino Vanelli on black cars? Playing brushes, you know? So I'll keep poking you with regards to hoping that you'll at some point take me up on that idea.
It's recorded, and I'll promise.
That's it. Good.
Yes, I promise.
I'll mark that down. That was 6:39. Pardon me. Okay, so we've been working on these fundamental aspects. I mentioned to you that Richard Martinez talks about the feint and flam, the flam and feint, flam and stroke, as being precursors to most of the technique. It really sets up what it is that Murray was teaching, right? Because this stuff is really fundamental. It's actually very fundamental. It's more simple than what is the saying? The truth is always simple. Okay. And what is that other saying? If the answer is complicated, it's probably not the right answer. All right. So we're looking at this thing in a very simple way, and yet, as you were saying, it was difficult. It is difficult for you to not play from parallel at the floor. And we're so used, especially if you're playing backbeat gigs, so you're always playing loud. That's the part that so many guys miss, is they can't do anything but play really loud, or mezzo to really loud.
Because without a doubt, you notice that the flams are softer, right? I mean, it has to be, right? Because I mean, it's only the distance between parallel and the floor. So the poggiatore is going to be very quiet, which is fine. You need to practice that too. That's not to say that then you can't do a big flam. That's also fine. But it's just I'm just not used to doing this sort of flams. The other thing that I forgot to mention, which is actually quite interesting too, and that I think is part of the problem of me struggling with this, is that when I was always like on my mind how I was thinking of flam, it's something that happens kind of at the same time. So there's also a coordination problem of like the right hand doing something and this one stays parallel and only acts on the very last minute. Does that make sense? You know? So like when you're doing this, look, both move at the same time, right? Like here, they don't.
Well,
you know,
and Dick would talk about that's a good way to teach younger students or kids. It's like on a string. And I think even Chad Wackerman on the DW channel talks about that.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Right? You lift it up, and if you let them both fall at the same time, because one's closer to the surface, it'll strike first. Okay. But we're refining that now. Okay?
Yeah. It's tough, and the coordination thing, because I was like, no, the hand has to move in this one only like last minute.
Okay, I see. Well, but really, what you're describing is the very essence of this technique. Hence, that's why this first page number 8 in the Spivack Percussion Studio Library, but it's right at the beginning. And so, in a Socratic sense, what is that telling you about the technique? The fact that we're playing pianissimo from the floor. Half-inch parallel beat to butt end, inch, half-inch. You're not putting the pieces together. That's why this stuff is so important. Okay, I'll tell you. That's because with this technique, we get volume not by a muscular force. We get volume based on how high it is we turn. The higher we turn, the louder the note. Mm-hmm. So if we're trying to play a pianissimo note, we don't want to turn high. So we would turn from the lowest position, which is our starting position, the floor, half inch bead to butt end, parallel to the playing surface. You dig? See that's pianissimo. Now go ahead and turn higher. There, it's louder, isn't it? Go ahead and turn higher. You don't need to force it down. All you have to do is in a relaxed way turn, and you get more. And we don't have to. We could get more volume by turning, really adding a lot of muscular force. But if we want that kind of volume, it's more relaxed just to do this. Right?
Yeah.
I can do it here. This is a lot more relaxed. And that's one of the concepts. It's really an integral part of this technique. Okay, metronome on it. In fact, go ahead and play it without the metronome. It's just. So I think it was George Lawrence Stone that recommended not always teaching with a metronome. I think that's right. Okay, so go ahead and put you're just a tad above 40, but I had you starting at 40. So go ahead and put the metronome on at 40. I get to work on my latch grip here. See how it looks? Okay. The gig is to get the upstroke and get back to the floor. You want to get back to the floor. Okay, so it sounds a little mushy. It sounds like there's some hesitancy. It's totally cool, but you're getting the idea, right? Part of the gig, part of the gig is to just, I've learned, is to just do what your teacher tells you. Just to believe in it to the extent that, so that you know it's going to work out.
And I get it.
And some of us find it hard to trust in that way, but it'll help. So, and you can hear yourself. You cop to it right away. So what we're looking to do is get this note, which is part of the motion up. We want to get back to parallel. So we want to get this part. So show me this part. Okay, so it just, you can call it falling, or this is or it could be a turn. You could call it a turn. We actually have to make contact. That's better. Now, what's going on with your grip? It looks a little, just show it to me this way. Okay, well, that's how my thumb looks. More concave than yours. Remember, we're sending energy across to a place in between the index finger and the middle finger. It's a 3-finger grip. And the baby finger. See, you see how the fingernails are aligned? You see how all my knuckles are aligned? Yeah, looks better. Now don't pinch with your thumb.
Okay.
Flatten out your thumb. Now show it to me again. My thumb is further back than yours. You don't want the thumb up here. There, it looks better.
Right here?
Yeah, yeah, good. Flat of the thumb. It'll give you the shape that is appropriate for your hand. Most human hands. Okay, now we want to get this part. We want to get that part. So we get this bend. Once we got the bend, we want to cock our wrists. There. See, it sounds more solid, doesn't it?
It does.
You weren't really making a throw with an upstroke, or even a throw without an upstroke, or with just an up motion. So the gig is to get this isn't so much to be thinking about. Oh, I've got to play from here, and it's just part of a motion. It's part of one of these 7 basic strokes. 7. Okay, well, that's one way of doing it. We want this, and then we cock our wrists and get back to the floor. So we have a wrist turn and a wrist turn, a wrist turn and a wrist turn, 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 wrist turn, wrist turn, wrist turn, wrist turn, wrist turn, wrist turn. No, you still want to lift it up a little. Just let it drop. Then it has to drop. Now the gig is if you're really at the floor, get to know what it is you're doing, you'll know that if you bend from here, from the floor, you'll know that there's a note right there. If you make a throw and stop up high, you'll go to make that little note that would normally occur here.
It'll be bigger, yeah.
And you might miss the pad because lost the floor, and you have learned, hopefully by now, or you will learn to know, that if I'm at the floor, if I just do this much, watch, that's all it takes. If you're at the floor and you have a proper, decent grip, okay, and you don't have to force it, all that, the stick has a bunch of weight to it. Feels rather heavy, which is why I want you to have heavier sticks. I don't think your sticks are heavy enough.
They're 5Bs.
No, American Classic Rock. Shout out to my company, Vic Firth. Or excuse me, yeah, American Classic Rock. Right? We just let it drop, and then we cock. Drop, drop, and turn to the ceiling. There it is. And then we want to put that together. Now, can I do that on the left? So we're going feint and flam, feint and flam, feint and flam, feint and flam. Now, there is a little wrist turn. The feint is the upstroke. Then the flam isn't what you were describing. In this case, the flam is a tiny little turn.
Who's Mary's turn this one?
Right? It's a tiny, tiny little turn.
So which ones do not have a turn?
You do not have the what? Pardon?
Which ones you just turn from parallel?
That's the feint. And then you're raising for the core of the main note, which is your flam. The other hand can make a tiny little turn. It can make a little turn. It's the up to down, the single stroke, Murray's famous single stroke that you have to get. Nope, you lift it up for your single stroke. That's what I'm trying to teach you. So you're thinking about this idea of timing, a flam, maybe, but right now for what we're working on, that does
you turn or you not turn?
With this stroke. What's that?
Does the appository turn or just do this?
The feint is a single stroke, and the single stroke starts. It's what I just showed you, where you're dropping the stick from parallel, and then turning to the ceiling, where Murray would say you're cocking your wrist, and then you've got to get back. That's all that hand is doing. Show me what the other hand does for the appoggiatura. No, the right. No. No.
This.
The little turn. Tiny little turn.
Didn't understand this. Okay, I get it. Okay, now. Okay.
Go ahead. Without a metronome. But you have to start with the feint. But that was a good flam. No. It doesn't do this and then go up more. It's just that. That's it. There. Now the other hand does that. Just does that. And then a little turn. There. It just does that. Don't turn to the ceiling. It just does that. Yeah. That's it. There you go. Come on. Don't fudge it in the left. It's actually got to get to here. It's just this little bend. And now what's happening is that the arm is moving, isn't it? But we're not using the arm. The wrist is motivating the arm. So it's really wrist.
Yeah.
So it's wrist, 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 and in the left, a tiny wrist. Then in the left it goes wrist, and in the right there's a little turn, wrist. It's all wrist. It's just all wrist. It's just all wrist. That's it. Look, it's just doing this. That's all it is.
Yeah, because I thought the appoggiatory didn't imply any sort of turn at all, but apparently it does, right?
Yes, it does.
That's okay. Gotcha.
In this case, what we're working on.
Now, so second question, if it's something really, really slow, then the feint is, you don't stay like here, right? You just do a tap, and then it would go this, right?
Well, that might be true, but what this stroke should be played at a tempo so that you learn how to play a single stroke.
Sure, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe what you said is true, but that's not what this is all about. We're helping you to make. Remember, Murray Spivack thought the upstroke to a downstroke was so prevalent with regards to this technique that he actually named it something specific. He does have, as part of the 7 strokes, an upstroke, and he also has a downstroke, but then he has a single stroke, which is an upstroke to a downstroke, which is what we're working on. So that means that we're really making an upstroke. We're not waiting, dropping it, and then going up. Yeah.
I see.
That's much better.
I see.
Okay, now, so go ahead, metronome on it, say, put it at 48. See what that would look like. Okay. And, it starts left. Now, we don't want to fudge on this part of it, but better ref. But what we don't want to do is do this, because now we're up. We don't need to keep going up. And so you have a tendency, I think it was more prevalent in the left, but we don't want to do this.
Okay.
We want to do up,
Yeah.
down, up, to down, which you've actually felt today. Remember, you just drop, no, you're turning to the ceiling for your single stroke. Now it's not a single stroke. Now it's 2 strokes. It's a little wrist turn with some sort of, we're just dropping it. There you go. Almost, yeah, better. Right, play right in the center. Don't go following it up after you've made your strike. You're done on the up. It's a note and a note. There you go, looking good. Okay.
Okay.
Now put the metronome up to 52. Let's just take a look at it there. Oh, you lifted to the ceiling. No, no. All that discussion. Didn't you build some kind of contraption that would not allow you to turn to the ceiling? There you go. It just falls. Fall, 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 cock your wrist, fall, and cock your wrist. So it's right about this tempo where you want to start to lift that beat up instead of just making a motion. Because it's no longer the motion we're looking for. Much better. Okay, now let's take this thinking. Let's just keep it at 52. These strokes aren't about speed. They're about ingraining these motions.
I agree.
Okay, this is about muscle memory and mind muscle, right? Okay, so now let's look at the Feint and Flam. No metronome. Turn off your metronome.
Flam and Feint, you mean, right?
Sorry, I'm not sure what I said, but the Flam and Feint, yes. The Flam and Feint. He puts a "the" in front of it. Now the rhythm is different, isn't it? That's going to be a little bit more of a flick because it's like a shuffle. It's dotted 8th note with a 16th note. Would you count that, Ralph?
What do you mean, how 1 E and a?
Or one and a? How do you count it?
1 E and it's easy for me.
Go ahead and count out loud while you're playing, just so that I know that you can do that.
2 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a.
You've lost the mode, so you need to slow it down because you're not making a single stroke. You're turning to the ceiling and then going up. That's what you have to do. And a little flick. Come on, just let it drop. Stop lifting to the ceiling. You don't want to just let it drop, do you? You don't believe that it's going to make a note. Yeah, that was pretty good. On the other hand, make a little turn. Don't lose your place of center on the surface. Stay in the center of the, not a chamber, center of the surface. Wish it was a chamber. Gotta have the discipline of letting it drop. You're fudging every time, truly letting it drop. Really close, so much better. So we're looking for Yeah, you don't need to play this real fast. What's all the rush about? And 2 and 1 2 and 1 and 2 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so put the metronome on at 40. Let it drop. The other hand can turn. for the appoggiatura, just a little turn, but it's the dropping. And now it's just turned into, no, 40's too fast for you. Interesting, which is totally cool. That's totally cool. Watch, watch. You're just doing this now. Just stay with me. You're just flowing through. It's not. It's There has to be this motion, this to this, da, No, doesn't go swinging out. It just, there, slow it down. Yeah, play it that slowly. 1 and 2. Come on. It's one motion and it does this. That was a good one. Come on, show me what the left does. Go slower. Better. Go slower. 1. Oh, you didn't just let it drop. That was a good one. There, you get the idea. Come on, really make this first drop, the initial drop. There it is. Not bad. No, the right does a nice drop and comes up a little. See, it's got to come up. By turning, it does this.
Is the flick thing on the left?
And 2, 3. Watch, see, there's this side and then this side. 1 and there you go. Don't be afraid in the left to get this position. Come on, no, it's not. It's this. It's letting it drop. There you go. Good. There you go. There you go. It's just one motion dropping. Okay.
Yeah, I understand it.
It's too fast. Let's figure it something else out. 1.
Do you know?
So if you put it at 60, and the metronome equaled
Half tempo, right?
8 notes, 1 and 2, try it there. 60, metronome's playing 8 notes. Count out loud. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and
1 and 2 and 1 and 2.
Now, let's play it this way. Let's play it this way. Instead of the metronome marking off the first of every 4 notes, 1 and 2. Now you get to play it more slowly. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. You have your metronome on.
What, 60?
Yeah, you have your metronome on at 60, and count 1 and 2 and. Because the metronome won't go slow enough, so we have to find another way.
And
Maybe it does. Does yours go down to 35?
it does, yeah, yeah.
Put it down to 35. Maybe we can do it that way.
1, 8, and 2.
It might still be too fast. Does it go any lower? Does it go to 30?
It goes to whatever you want.
Look at you.
30. 1, 8, and 2.
That's good. Very good.
And 8, 1, 8, and 2.
Don't be afraid to get this position, and especially in the left. There you go. Good. Okay. You're at 30. I just want you to work at it nice and slowly. Success isn't about accomplishing speed. Success is about accomplishing these motions. Now, the flam and stroke. No metronome. No metronome. So now let's see what's happening. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Same thing again, right? The appoggiatura is a little turn, but then there's a single stroke. It's all the same thing. We're in single stroke land. Okay, not a shuffle, so count out loud. 1 and 2 and.
1 and 2 and.
Make the appoggiatura just a little turn. Don't have to pound it through the surface.
And 2.
There you go.
1 and 2.
No, you lifted.
No.
See the discipline this takes? There you go. It's a good one. Just try to drop. Yeah. 1 and 1 and. And hey, put metronome on at 30. Good rap. Put it on at 30. You've actually been successful in making these motions. You're on the flam and stroke. That's good, Raph. Consistency in the flams. Don't smudge them together. Decide how far apart you're going to make them. Is it an open flam? Is it a closed flam? Somewhere in between, but it's got to be consistent. Now this might be good. Let's see. This is perhaps boring for you.
No, not at all. Actually, it's not at all.
Kind of cool though.
It is not, you know.
It seems like so how is this going to help me? What does this really do for me? And so I can imagine it for the audience being somewhat tedious to take and absorb or appreciate. But this is the real deal. Without these motions, we're just faking this technique. We have to have this.
It has almost all of the strokes really here. You have downstroke, you have upstroke, you have the throw, right? You have a flam, You have single taps. I mean, you kind of have everything if you look at it really.
Well, except for rebounds.
Except for rebound, yeah.
And we're not there right now, right? We're not even in rebound land, which is cool, because rebound land will mean very little without rebounds in the context of these motions. Okay, now pull out stick control. Just going to look at something very similar now. We're going to really ingrain this.
Yes, sir. What's the page?
Page 16. We're into Flam beats.
Yeah.
The drummer's Bible, stick control. Okay, see it?
Yes.
Now what we've got, you see that Dick Wilson has marked mine, 9591. Okay.
What does that mean?
That was the date.
Oh.
That was my first year studying with Dick, 1991. Okay. Now he has me approaching this as is typical, I understand, for both Murray and Dick. But I understand that Murray would also go through stick control on the wrist, which is what we're going to do. Okay, so 72 would be for rebounds. 72 to 80 allows stick control when it's being played as rebounds is at that beats per minute, or those beats per minute, give or take. And Murray and Dick would have discrepancies, right? I think I have Murray having marked this as well. And they're different tempos. Let's see.
Right?
Yeah. Murray is in pencil at the top.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Exactly.
So Murray was at half note equals 80 to 84.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember.
And Dick was at 72 to 80. So he thought 80 to 84 might be a little quick. Okay. Did the upstairs, downstairs, snare drum technique, and the masters, and their discrepancies with regards to tempos. Okay, now we're just going to look at this so that we could number one. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? So we're going to look at exercise number 1. And before we play it, we just want to assess, because at a certain point, the written note will guide you. It'll be so obvious where the ups and downs are. Dick would always write it in. And you can see that he's written it in. But what he's written in has to do with rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do this a little bit differently. So look. But you can see that he's written in arrows with ups and arrows that show you the down. Okay. So we're going to play it thusly. Let's see.
But it's always the same Flam, isn't it?
Oh, I'm playing it wrong.
Oh,
About that. I was playing number 3.
exactly. Yeah.
So now here, we don't have an upstroke, do we? Now we have an up motion. Now show me where the floor is in your right, because you're up here somewhere. No? You gotta come back to the floor. Now we found another concern. Show me the floor. Show me the floor. Arms hanging by the side. You bring them up. If I didn't have the pads in the way, you bring them up. And that's where your floor is supposed to be. You gotta get right back to parallel. No, you're above the floor.
That's it, right?
Show me where you're going to start. That's where you have to come back to.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, if that's where you're deciding the floor is going to be, as long as you always come back to that. Oh, not at the floor. Not at the floor. Right has to come to the floor. Remember one of the reasons why it has to come to the floor? What if the right, just stay there at the floor. Come on, the floor, don't creep up a little. Because if you're going to make an upstroke, what would it feel like? In your right. It has to be there to get a note. Now, if you raise the stick up just a little, maybe you're squeezing, which will bring the beat up a little, squeeze, or if you're just holding the arm up because you don't come all the way back down to the floor. See, rare, now you're really snug. Now you have a relationship with the floor, or the floor has a relationship with the surface, so that when you bend just a little, you know where your up is. And we're going to find out in a minute when we get to perhaps number 3, I think involves an upstroke. Okay, now show me number 2. Little wrist turns, 3 little wrist turns, right? Now, Raf, the 3 wrist turns in the right, they're not even, are they? If they were even, the last of the 3.
You're right, yeah.
The last of the, stay with me now, Raf.
I get it. The first one is more piano than the others. I get it. Because part of the Flam.
No, that's not where I was going with that. Maybe not. I'm not sure about that. But if you were to play all 3 notes evenly, 1 and 2, it would land on the 2. But it doesn't land on the 2. The other hand lands on the 2. So it goes 1 and ra. It comes a little ahead of 2. The last note is a little quicker. That's all. It's almost imperceptible, but you never thought of it. There, see? Yeah, but you're not making a motion in your right. In your left. Got to get this. What if there was there? Now you could make an upstroke if you wanted. Right back to the floor. Now, how high are you going to turn in the right? Don't kill, because one of those notes is going to be an appoggiatura. So let's keep those notes lighter. Very similar to the Feint and Flam, where we're going from pianissimo. Now I know there's not an accent written, but we're making a little motion. Good, Raph. Good. Now let's see number 3. Bless you.
Sorry.
So how's that going to work now? have to. I want to think about it. I want to know what I'm doing. Okay, so we still don't have upstrokes, do we?
No.
Okay. So, but we have an up motion.
Yes, so you up motion, but without the stroke.
It's almost identical to an upstroke, isn't it?
Same,
So that you're so close to the surface that if you wanted, you could actually make a note.
If you wanted, that's the key one.
Okay. So let's see if we can. Let's see. Okay, now play number 5.
This one does have. This one does have.
You go. See, it's obvious, isn't it now? Go the other way. And the right just has 2 little taps. Don't freak out about 2 little taps. 2 little tiny wrist turns. Upstroke to a downstroke like that. That's good, Crabb. Okay, put the metronome on at 40. Let's see what happens. Play that one at 40, number 5. Come on, I want a real wrist turn for an up motion or an upstroke. Okay, so you can make 40. You can make 40, which eluded you with the Feint and Flam. Here, see? You see, it starts to all become the same. As you become familiar and conversant, so to speak, with regards to these motions, once you Feint and Flam, paradiddle, they'll all have some form of, if there's an accent, there'll definitely be an upstroke to prepare for said accent, because the accent in this technique typically comes via a throw. So that's cool. Go ahead, put the metronome up to 52. Let's see what happens on number 5. See, your first throw is never very good. Stop. Start again. Lead with your wrist. There you go. Now number 5. It's always the same upstroke, isn't it? You're playing another stroke, which is cool. That comes later.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5. Look at the music. It will guide you. It will teach you. No, number 5.
Sorry.
Now you're not making an upstroke. You're making a little turn to the ceiling. You lost it. A little more speed and you lost it. And you have less time. You'd think that it would help you find it, perhaps, maybe. It just drops. Where are you stopping? Stop at the floor, because you know that you only have a ½ inch to turn to get your upstroke. There, it's coming along. Okay, you can make it to 52. Good. Cool.
No, I actually quite like this, if I'm honest. I like this. It's good.
Cool. It actually feels good in the body, right? Because it's a more efficient way to play, right? Whatever. No. That's so simple. How simple that is. Always, forever. It will always work. Okay? So, Good. Now, I don't want to ignore doubles and row strokes. And once again, we're going to have all the same connectivity. We're going to be experiencing much of what I've just discussed with you and which you've accomplished nicely. A lot of that's going to be involved in, all of it's going to be involved in some form of playing doubles and row strokes. So if we just play doubles, we're real slow right now. So we're just playing doubles, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're in eighth note land right now, which is cool. Okay, put your metronome on at 40. Let's take a look at it. Don't forget, you don't want to hang there forever, but it has to get to that position so it can come back. It has to get to that position.
It's hard to know exactly the timing when you have to go up, right? Yeah, I know I will feel it at some point, but like I don't really know. Is it just now? Is it a bit later? You know?
Okay. That's fair enough.
Too early.
It's fine. Go ahead and put the metronome up. Let's see what happens at 60. Put it up to 60. Let's discover what happens to the technique. At some point, perhaps. Where's your right waiting? Is it at the floor? Just waiting. Right now, just waiting. Right now, just waiting. There it is. Just waiting. Just waiting. Just waiting. Okay, and the other way. Get that position. Both ways.
Not great.
It's not bad, Raph. Keep going.
All right.
Nice one.
Yeah.
You didn't really get to this position in the left. Your left is a little lazy when it comes to getting that to that position. Right? Okay, that's good. So what we were 52 there, or 60? 60. So go ahead and put that up to 72. Play a 5-stroke roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're getting into where there might be an upstroke.
It's not yet, is it? It feels
Real
like
close.
not yet.
Real close.
Sorry.
But if you were to make that second note an upstroke?
You could, yeah.
Well, let's see you do it. And the second turn right there. Come on, you didn't really do it in the left. Come on, the left doesn't want to do it, huh? Up. Up. Good. Up. 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 Right? Because eventually we're looking to see up, 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 up. See, now there's clearly an upstroke once it gets up there, right? That's where this is leading. Okay. Go ahead. See? Don't
Okay,
rush,
yes.
don't rush to the front of the bandstand.
Okay.
Just hang on for just a minute. Just take it all in from afar. Now put the metronome up to 80 and it'll be more obvious. Because you're saying, I don't know when to go up.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try that. Don't go pounding those doubles that are just 2 little wrist turns. Don't need to add any more force. If you want to play louder, turn higher. There you go. Yeah, relax, just nice and relaxed. It's still so slow that you might be hanging a little in the air, which I get. Now go ahead and put it up to 92. Up. Up. Okay, good. And you can see that from this, you were able to it's this again. It's just this. Forever, Raph. Forever. It's all a wrist turn. Okay? It's all a wrist turn. You're feeling that. That's really the secret to the technique. Right? The whole thing is back to arguably the greatest technical drummer ever. And what did Buddy Rich say? It's all in the wrist.
Yep, Dennis Chambers says that too. So.
That makes sense. Yeah, because that guy's got really fast wrists.
Yeah, and he always says, I don't use fingers, I don't use any of that. It's on the wrist. He always says that.
There you go. Okay, those are 2 reputable sources. Turning off the camera.